Hey guys, and welcome to a deck profile. This is gonna be the 3 Link Strike deck. So this is the budget version if you're getting into Yu-Gi-Oh! Or anything. I made a example, and of course cards depend on how you want to play and your playstyle and all that. But this is the deck that I had come up with. So let's just hop in straight into the profile. 3 Link Slayers. Pretty simple understanding there. You can summon him from your hand if you control no monsters. Once per turn, you can discard up to 2 cards and target that many spell or traps on the field. Destroy them. You run 3 of him, because he's super easy to bring him out, and you do want to see him in your starting hand. Same with this guy. You run 1 Cyber Dragon, only 1, because Link Slayer is just a better version of Cyber Dragon, in my opinion, and a lot of people have actually are agreeing and saying that if you read Reddit and everywhere. So if you guys don't know what this legendary monster does, if your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. And it says if your opponent controls a monster, so you can summon Link Slayer and then instantly summon this guy, which is why you only run 1 of him. Next up, we run 2 Ram Clouders. You can tribute 1 monster, then target 1 Cyberus monster in your graveyard, special summon it. You can only use this effect of Ram Clouder once per turn. This is why you run only 2 of him. Because 3 of him is just a bit too much and it clogs your deck up. Then I run, let's see, 2 Mystic Shell Dragons, just a generic 2000 beat stick. You can bring him out with Link Spider, which is pretty nice, so you do want to see 2 of him in your hand, too. I run 2 Evil Swarm Mandragoras. Again, this card is good because you can special summon it quite easily. If your opponent controls more monsters than you do, you can special summon this card from your hand. So that's why you run that at 2. Again, 2 Sandgins. If you don't know what this classic card does, if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, and it doesn't say by battle or card effect or anything like that, add 1 monster with 1500 attack or less from your deck to your hand, but you cannot activate cards or effects of cards with the same name for the rest of the turn. So the nice thing about this card is, if say you drew 1 of him and you didn't have anything else to play, you got like trap cards or something like that, place 1 face down, your opponent attacks, goes to the graveyard, you can see the Marauding Captain, you can get Draconet, Bitron, Raikou, Battle Fader, any card basically you want. So I run him at 2, because even though he is an awesome card, his limitation is that you can't activate anything after you use his effect. Again, 2 Marauding Captains. Marauding Captain, your opponent cannot target warrior monsters for attacks except this one. When this card is normal summoned, you can special summon 1 level 4 or lower monster from your hand. So this is why I run him at 2. He works pretty well with Sandgin, and he works really well with a Draconet. Well, Draconet, you do want to see this guy in your opening hand as well as Link Slayer, because when this card is normal summon, you can special summon 1 level 2 or lower normal monster from your hand or deck in defense position. So with him, you would most likely be bringing out this guy, Bitron. Bitron is really good in this deck, because he works extremely well with Draconet. 1 Raikou. If you don't know what he does, he has 2 effects. He is a flip effect. Apply these simultaneously. Destroy 1 card on the field. Good for clearing out boards. Good for clearing out Link monsters, if need be. and a good stall card of that. Send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard after you use his first effect. And again, 1 Battle Fader. When your opponent's monster declares an attack, you can special summon this card from your hand. Then end the battle phase. If summoned, banish it when it leaves the field. Again, only 1 of him for the simple fact that you don't always want to... He's only good for stall, just like Raikou. So that's it for the monster lineup. I will be, after I go over what's in the deck, I will be going over what else you can have in it if you would like. But I don't want them in my build, and also I'll be going over some combos for you guys. Alrighty guys, now for the spell cards. So I run 12 monsters, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. No, I run 22 monsters. I run 10 spells and 8 traps, I think. In this build, you can run less if you would like, but I found this pretty good. So I run 2 MSTs. If you guys don't know what this card does, it's a pretty classic card. Target 1 spell or trap card on the field, destroy it. Pretty simple as that. 2 Monster Reincarnation. This is just a good card for bouncing cards such as Raikou back, Link Slayer back, Battle Fader back. Well, if you use his effect, you can't really bounce him back, but you can pretty much bounce anything back that you need. Sangan is a pretty good one. Discard 1 card, then target 1 monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. It's pretty good. We run 1 Pot of Duality. Activate the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 of them to your hand. Also after that, shuffle the rest back into your deck. You can only activate 1 Pot of Duality once per turn. You cannot special summon during the turn you activate this card. 1 Book of Moon. It's just a good stall card. It's really good for stall, actually. And, I mean, it's limited, so you can only have 1 in your deck anyways. Target 1 face-up monster on the field. Change that target's face-down defense position. Can't use it on linked monsters, but it's alright. Speaking of stall cards, good card right here, Forbidden Lands. You could run this at 2 if you would like instead of Book of Moon, but or at 3. But I prefer this 1 Book of Moon and this, just because you can get over some really big targets with like Link Slayer, one of the biggest targets in the deck to get over, and you can't. It's easy that way. Target 1 face-up monster on the field this turn. The target loses 800 attack, but is unaffected by effects of other spells and traps. So at 2, and then of course for board clear, 2 Dark Holes, because it is semi-limited to 2. If you guys don't know what this legendary card does, destroy all monsters on the field. That's it for the spell lineup. As you guys can see, I run 5 cards just for the stall purposes in this deck. The reason I run 2 MSTs and not 3 is simply because if, say, someone is using the field spell, Cyber Universe, if they're using that, it's really good for getting rid of Link monsters and getting rid of that spell. You can run it also in your deck, which isn't a bad thing, but I decided to not on this build because it works pretty well without it. Alright, on to the trap cards. We run 8 traps. 2 Call of the Haunted. Activate this card to target a monster in your graveyard. Special summon that target in attack position. When this card leaves the field, destroy the monster. When the target is destroyed, destroy this card. Pretty standard card. Really good card again for stall. Really good. Or if you need something, if you're clutch and you need to summon a what is he called? A monster to link summon. Perfect card right there for bouncing back to the field. Then I run 1 Jar of Avarice. This card is just good because you can return 5 monsters from your graveyard, or 5 cards from your graveyard into your deck. Target 5 cards in your graveyard except Jar of Avarice. Shuffle all 5 into the deck. Then draw one card. Really good for draw as well. Really nice. I run one compulsory evacuation device. Again, it's limited to one. If it wasn't, I'd be running 2 of it. Target one monster on the field, return that target to the hand. Say someone Link summons. You can instantly pop this on Link Summon monster and bounce it back to their extra deck, which is pretty nice. We run one Dark Bribe. When your opponent activates a spell or trap card, that's you can negate it. But your opponent draws one card also. And then you destroy the spell or trap card that they activate. This is just good for getting rid of pesky cards. Yeah, just good for getting rid of us. MST is good for getting rid of Monster Reincarnation, Forbidden Lance, Dark Hole, anything like that. Fiendish Chain, activate this card by targeting one effect monster on the field. Negate the effect on the field. The face-up monster while it is on the field. Also, the face-up monster cannot attack. When this card is destroyed, destroy this card. When that monster is destroyed, destroy this card. So it's just good. Also, stall card right there. One Bottomless. Target when your opponent special summons a monster with 1500 or more attack, destroy that monster with 1500 or more attack. If you do, banish it. So again, stall card, really nice right there. And one Mirror Force. If you guys don't know what this card does, when an opponent's monster declares an attack, destroy all your opponent's attack position monsters. You could run 3 of this. If you do, I'd get rid of Fiendish Chain and Bottomless for this card. I find 1 is pretty decent with just 3 Link Strike starter decks, basically. And this card right here, so good with Links against Links. It's gonna be the card that completely devastates all Links, in my opinion. Alright, so those are the traps. Now, for other cards that I really like, but I didn't decide to run, or that you can run more of in the deck. Effect Veiler, really good card. Really good card to run. He is a tuner. If you have any synchro monsters and you want to just toss them in the deck in the extra deck, you can. But yeah, this card is perfect in the deck. It's really good. During your opponent's main phase quick effect, you can send this card from your hand to the grave. Target one effect monster your opponent controls. That face-up monster your opponent controls has its effect negated until the end of the turn. So good card right there. Next up, we have another Battle Fader. You can run multiples of him, multiples of Sangan, multiples of Marauding Captain, multiples of Cyber Dragon. You can run, I wouldn't run more than one of this guy because he is kind of tricky, and he's pretty much a dead card if you have more than one of him in the deck, in my opinion. Cannot be normal summoned or set, must be first special summoned from the hand while you control no monsters. Cannot attack if you control another monster. So this card is, I mean, if you want, you can run him, but I wouldn't choose to run him over Cyber Dragon. Cyber Dragon is much better in my opinion compared to this guy. But if you do want, you can run one of him in the deck. Next up, you can run United We Stand. I did want to run this card, but I decided to scrap it for 2 extra monsters. But this card is really good. The equipped monster gains 800 attack for each face-up monster you control. So you can technically have 7 monsters out on the field. Yeah, 7 monsters, and that's 800 for 7. It's really good. Another Pot of Duality isn't bad to run in this deck. Terraforming and 3 Cybernetic Universes isn't bad to run in the deck as well. Again, Cybernet Universe. All Link monsters you control gain 300 attack. Once per turn, you can target one monster in the grave, shuffle it into the deck. If this card on the field is destroyed by a card effect, send all monsters in the extra monster zone to the grave. So it is a bit tricky because you can lose all your Link monsters in it, but it is pretty good to run in the deck. Traps, Torrential Tribute, you can only have 1 of them in the deck. You can only have 1 Ring of Destruction as well. Both of these are really good to run in the deck if you want to have more stall, depending on your playstyle. And of course, 2 more Mirror Forces won't kill anybody except your opponent's monsters, of course. So that's it for the extra cards that I would say is worth running. Of course, as you guys know, it is up to personal preference. In the end, if you want, you can technically side deck these cards. That's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 cards. You can side deck a bunch of these. Maybe you might want to get rid of one of those, and maybe, let's say, Cyber Dragon or something. And there you go. There's a side deck for you for the 3 Link Strike starter decks. I'm getting really tongue-twisted whenever I say that. Alright. I'm guessing you guys can guess what my extra deck consists of. 3 Decode Talkers, 3 Honey Bots, and 3 Link Spiders. Link Spider is an amazing card. Really, really awesome card. Honeybot is really good for opening up some more slots, and then Decode Talker is the main big boss of the 3 decks. Alrighty, also, if you got, say you got 3 of these decks, and then say you got some Battles of Legend packs, and you ended up pulling Trishula, Crystal Wing, MX Saber Invoker, Break Sword, you can run them in the extra deck also, because you, like I said, you do have Effect Veiler to Synchro Summon in this deck, which is pretty nice. But I know not many people don't have it, or maybe they're just getting into the game. But in the end, you can get a couple Battle of Legends packs and hopefully pull one of these big guys out of there and use them in the deck. Alrighty guys, I will be back in just a second. Alrighty guys, so for some combos here, I'm going to show you guys some good combos in this deck with the cards I took out right now. So say you opened up with a Link Slayer and a Cyber Dragon in hand. So you can, if you go second, you go first. If you go second, awesome, because you can summon a Cyber Dragon most of the time. Because say your opponent summons a monster, boom, and they can't attack or do anything like that. Your turn comes around, you summon Link Slayer from your hand, because you control no monsters, and then if only your opponent controls a monster, I misread the card earlier, you can't really summon him, but if you do need a bigger boss monster, you can special summon this card instead. So that's one combo right there. But you wouldn't be able to really link summon with that. Alright, so the way you can link summon is, say you open up with this, that, and Mystery Shell Dragon in hand. Ooh, did I take up? I think I forgot Marauding Captain, of course. Marauding Captain as well. So, alright, so here's a fun little combo. Say your opponent controls monsters, right? And you control them, there, boom, you get to summon this card from your hand. You both control, I think this card says, yeah, if your opponent controls more than more monsters than you, you can special summon Mandragora from your hand. Boom, there you go. Next up, you can summon Draconet from hand, go into your deck, and summon a Bitron in defense mode, of course. This is where positioning will come in key. So what you can do is, say you can link summon with Bitron for a Link Spider. From there, you will be able to actually, since you have him, thanks to him, you get a special summon a card from your hand. Or say you have a Bitron, you can summon a Bitron instead. It's up to you depending on what your hand turns out to be. But there you go. And you can once again link summon from here. You can go straight into Decode Talker if you want. You have effect monster, and then a normal monster if you want. You can get rid of. I personally would not do that. I would get rid of Mandragora, Link Spider, and doesn't matter, Draconet. So I would get rid of these 3. Go into, where's Decode Talker? Oops, I moved him over here. Go straight into Decode Talker. Boom. Link Zone right here, he becomes a 30, he gains 500 attack, right? Yeah, he becomes a 3300 monster. Then, if you would like, you can also straight off go into, if you summon Bitron from your hand, you can do this. But if you have Mystery Shell Dragon, you can't, because Honey Bot does say you have to have two Cyberse monsters to summon her. So if you have both Link Slayer and Bitron, get rid of both of them, drop her there. There you guys go. You guys have another 2 slots open. That's a great combo right there. But if you can't, you do have Mystery Shell Dragons out on the field with a Decode Talker and another alien and say Link Slayer. Boom, you have Link Slayer out there too. You still have a 300 beat stick basically. That's pretty good. Alright guys, so for another combo, say you started off with all 3 of these monsters in your hand. You go second or first, you can summon him from your hand. If your opponent has 2 monsters already, you can summon Mandragora, and then you can normal summon Marauding Captain, which will let you summon Draconet, but you will not get its effect. Again, you have 4 monsters out on the field. You can go into... you could go straight into Decode Talker, basically. Get rid of 3 monsters, Decode Talker, and you have an extra Link. You'd probably keep Link Slayer, because his effect is too good to pass up, and there you go. You guys have another combo. I think that's it, really, for the combos. Oh, of course, if you, let's say you got your hand and you don't, what happens if you don't pull the best of hands? Let's say you have all this. Where do I put them? You have Cyber Dragon in hand, you have Sangan in hand, and you have Raikou in hand, along with, let's say, Call of the Haunted, and you draw both of your Call of the Haunteds, basically. So what you can do in this position right now is you're going first, right? You cannot summon this card because your opponent has monsters, so it's a dead card in hand. You can play, let's say you play one of your Call of the Haunteds out on the field for later. If you want, if you're afraid of getting attacked, you can summon Raikou. But what I would do is I would play Sangan face down. Right. Opponent attacks, flip, get rid of Sangan, I would add Draconet from my deck into my hand. Then it goes off to my turn, right? Now that the opponent controls a monster, summon Cyber Dragon. From there you summon Draconet. From there you go into your deck and you summon Bitron in defense position. You have a Sangan in graveyard. You can pop Call of the Haunted, summoning back a Sangan, let's say, in defense position. From here, you can go into Link Spider because you have 1 normal monster. Boom, you have a Link monster out right now. Then you can, if you would like, which I would do, I would get rid of both Draconet and, again, this is where position comes in key, so you probably want to have this guy here, Draconet over here, and Link Bitron would have been here, and Sangan would have been there. So you'd get rid of Sangan and Draconet, which gets rid of Call of the Haunted, and activates Sangan's effect. But you would want to first Link Summon, wait, you keep Draconet out. You'd Link Summon into Decode Talker from there. So you'd have Draconet out, you would have a 3300 attack beat stick again. Then from your deck, you would add a second Draconet to your hand. Because next turn, what you can do is you can summon him again, and you can summon, thanks to him, you can summon a Bitron afterwards from your deck. Boom, you have 2 Cyberse monsters. You can summon, you would get rid of this Draconet, which is linked. Summon this card probably right there. And then you still have one Draconet right there, which is indestructible because of Honeybot's effect. And there you guys go. You guys have 4 monsters still out on the field. If you wanted to, of course, you could get rid of Honeybot, Draconet, for another Decode Talker. I don't know what, right here. Boom, you have another Decode Talker out on the field. Pretty nice, and you have a really giant beat stick in Cyber Dragon. So that's it for my build of this deck. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys did, please leave a like down below, subscribe to my channel, follow me on Twitter, and if you guys would like to see more 3 deck profiles in the future, let me know in the comments below, and I'm more than happy to try and do some more whenever new decks come out. There will be an updated profile on this deck. After I did open up, you guys probably saw this earlier today, I did open up the Code of the Duelist booster box, but I didn't end up pulling all the cards that I would need to boost this deck up a bit. So I did order them, and they should be here sometime during the week. So stay tuned for an updated version of this deck with Code of the Duelist. And I'll continue updating this deck whenever new monsters that work with this deck come out. So as always, guys, keep dueling, and I'll see you guys next time.